hump in the middle, okay? And we just want to have fun with this, okay?
Yeah.
Maybe on one, it may be on the other. Who knows? Someday we may put a flag on each of them and just let you hit to the one.
I was just going to say that myself. So
You could easily do that.
But, the whole setting is incredible. Like you've told our listeners that this is going to look incredibly different next year when all the fescue is going in.
Yeah, well, the about half of it was planted last summer. The other half was just planted within the last 2 months. So you can see, and really from the lodge, the only green you see, the only hole you see the whole hole of is number one.
Yeah.
And then all the other holes are hidden amongst the fescue.
Well, the other thing that you can't quite picture yet, but everybody can, is what this place is going to look like. Not only the Dunebray, but the rest of the courses when we start getting the fall color change.
Well, we're just starting to see some of the twinges of fall change here now, and over the course of the next couple of weeks, fall golf is so important for all of northern Michigan, and especially for us because you get these great elevations and the spectacular views of the valleys with the changing fall color. So we're excited for that. We're excited for fall golf here, both for tee times, and then we have that swing for three special. So,
yeah, talk about that.
Well, you need to book it by September 15th, but whenever you stay on a 3-night package, you get the third night for half price,
right?
As far as your lodging goes. So, it's great. You get a deal to come up. You get spectacular views in the fall. At this time of the year, the courses aren't quite as crowded as they were in July and August.
Prices are down a little bit.
Have a little more breathing room, yes, because there's less people on the course. So it's a little less expensive, and just enjoy it, put an extra layer on, and just have a wonderful time with spectacular views in northern Michigan.
Have we inserted this onto the BoyneGolf.com website yet?
We got some new photography. We're going to update it, and Dunebray page is on Boyne Golf. So we're excited. The grand opening of it's going to be next spring. And we're doing some test play this fall, but really the grand opening will be next spring. It's like we've said all along. We wanted it open just like everybody else, but we wanted it to be in this great condition like you just saw today. Yeah. And, I know you didn't so you're not teased. But by the same token, you see it's going to be worth waiting for. Yeah. And we always take long-term views, not short-term views, and this is another great example.
That's what makes Boyne so special, Ken. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. The team worked really hard on this.
Yep. Visit BoyneGolf.com. That's going to do it for us here on Finding Fairways this week. As we like to say, find a fairway of your own, preferably here at Boyne. Stick a peg in the ground and pound it down the middle. We'll be back with you next week here on Up North Sports Radio.
It's time for the Northern Michigan High School Sports Scoreboard Show on Up North Sports Radio with your host, Rich Calkins.
Kalkaska and Gaylord, we appreciate the partnership with them this year. And starting off here today, JC, we're going to have a head coach we usually have a taped interview with, but we're going live with them here today as James Wagner, head coach at Traverse City West, coming off a thrilling 35-20 win. James, talk about that game last night.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Sorry about last night, not being able to get in the booth there, but it's one of those wins that the team celebrated, and we're super excited about post-game, so apologize about that. But, yeah, it was a great, good night to be a Titan. I think a lot of good things happened for our team last night. It was a gritty performance on a lot of levels. I've already spoke with them this morning just simply about just the way that they responded to different situations and being able to overcome certain things. There's a couple different things that didn't go our way, and we simply needed to dig deep a little bit and find something within ourselves to be able to come out of that. And they did, and it was really just awesome for me to see the maturity of my team overcome that, and they could have easily put themselves dug themselves in the hole if they wanted to, and they didn't. And that's a really, really cool and positive sign to me about my team. So Great night for us.
Coach, I thought offensively, it was really cool, the mixture of the drives where we had big plays to score touchdowns, but also had a lot of sustained drives as well. So offensively, we're able to do it both ways, again, with those big plays, but also just moving the chains.
Yeah, I credit my offense coordinator, Brant Wilson. He did an incredible job this week and all my coaches. I mean, they all did a great job of just simply coaching up the kids to be able to put them in the best position to have success. Brant really did a great job of giving these guys the opportunity to succeed. We had worked on some different things this week together as a whole of just simply being able to execute. Big jumps happen between scrimmage and week 1 and week 1 to week 2, and we discovered a little bit of our passing game last night, which was awesome. It always opens up the running lanes a little bit as well, and so we had some big plays in the pass game, some timely things that were called, and we in the trenches when we needed to, we took some time off the clock. I mean, I know we had gotten the ball with 1:10 in the third quarter and chewed up the whole entire fourth quarter in one drive. I mean, it was very, very impressive what we did down the stretch, and it was just an awesome thing to watch those kids do that.
Yeah, it was, Coach. A lot of times, like you said, you close out games, you go into that 4-minute offense per se.
Yep.
But
Yep.
You're going to rename it to the 13-minute offense, and so.
Yeah.
But
that was something I had not been a part of in a high school football game before, was being able to chew up the whole quarter. So that was really something cool to be a part of.
Well, it takes a little pressure off your defense, Coach. A lot of bad things happen when your defense is on the field as opposed to your offense being on the field.
Yeah, and I don't know about that. I feel like there was one big play that we gave up. They had one drive on us early on, and we made an adjustment. And outside of that, they had one big play coming out of the half. We missed a tackle, and we were relying on that person to make that tackle at that time. And those things happen in football, and when you don't make a tackle, they're going to get more yards. And for that kid in particular, number 20, he's a heck of a player, and he's going to take it to the house. And so, outside of one missed tackle and one drive, I felt like our defense played really, really well. We gave up a special team score, and that was the other touchdown. But when your defense can hold a team to, those kids at Grand Haven were some explosive athletes who could break at any point. We knew that, and I felt like we did a good job bottling them up and keeping them to 14 is a pretty good job by my defense. So,
right.
Again, a lot of positives, definitely a lot of things to correct still. That's part of the process of a season. But I was very happy with the response from week 1 to week 2 and just kind of the growth that occurred.
Right. And, Coach, I was kind of surprised when the Rodriguez kid was no longer quarterback for them as they moved him into that slot position. And I talked to the AD after the game, and they said the reason they did that this year is because, as you know, Coach, he's not very big. And playing in the conference that they do, that OK Red Conference with the likes of Rockford, he just would get physically pounded all year long. And so they decided that this year, his senior year, they were going to move him to the slot and try to get him the ball that way and have him take less hits.
Yeah, I'll say this: I was very happy to see him not at the quarterback position.
Why was that?
Yeah, he's
a heck of a player and he's a heck of an athlete. I don't have the reason why per se that he wasn't there, but I felt like they were going to utilize him in any way they could. He was somebody that was keeping me up all week.
Yeah.
Trying to game plan around.
Right.
He's a special talent, and I felt like our kids did a good job. I think he had one catch. We limited him to one catch, which
that's crazy.
Again, credit to defense and kids, even up front, putting pressure on the quarterback. And so bottling that young man up to one catch and a couple carries for probably under 30 yards. That's a really, really good positive stat to bring out of that game.
Yeah, That's the fewest amount of times I called his name in the 3 years I've called his number in his games. It was just crazy.
Yeah, that coaching staff thinks that the quarterback they had under center is better than that kid.
Well, I don't know if that was the case, but he was a bigger, more physical kid. And again, they say because of the hits he was taking all year long in that conference they play, by the end of football season, he was battered and bruised. Oh. And the guy I talked to happens to be the baseball coach as well, and the Rodriguez kid's a heck of a pitcher.
Okay.
So he's their number one pitcher down there. So it's a preservation type thing.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, again, these coaches always have their reasons of why they're doing things.
Right.
And, it's like you never have one just answer to all of it, but it was what it was, and we were just we were excited to be able to execute and walk away with a win last night.
Yeah, Coach, it's always nice to have that long ride back with a win under your belt. Like, I don't know what the Green Bay Packers feel like flying back from an 11-hour flight from Sao Paulo with a loss. So
yeah.
that had to be a lot of smiles on the bus and a great start to the season. 2 tough teams, 2 big wins.
Yeah. It's always nice to be able to be on the bus with a win. But, we take things one week at a time. I think, and again, there's a lot of things to still learn and still, gain from just watching film here this morning. And these kids, they're hungry. I think they're very hungry to continue on the path that they're on. We have Bay City Central next week, who won last night. It's like nobody in our conference is going to give you anything. We have to be able to be prepared, and so looking into next week, we're going to have to be at our best. It's another opportunity for us to go out and get better, and hopefully be able to be 1-0 this week. We try to be 1-0 each week. Doesn't matter what happened in the previous week. It doesn't matter. Once it comes to game time, it's all about being able to execute on game night, and so. We'll see what happens. We need a good week of practice, and we need to be able to fix some things moving forward. But I'm excited for another opportunity to go out there and play some football.
Coach, how's the health of the team? Sustain any tough injuries yesterday?
No, I think we're doing all right. A couple of minor things here and there that will require a little bit of rest, but for the most part, I believe everybody's going to be okay, and we're getting some kids back too. I mean, early on we had injury of Aiden Griffiths, who he broke his fibula in the middle of the summer, and last night was his first night back of being cleared, and so I was like, all right, man, like I feel good about throwing you on defense. And so we put him out there, and I ended up using him pretty much the whole second half, and he did a great job, and he's going to be somebody that can come back on offense here soon, which adds us another weapon. And then had a couple kids that had pneumonia early on, and they are coming back from being sick, and that takes a toll on your body, and so they're coming out of being physically weak. And so they're getting their strength back, and it's just only going to add depth to our team, which is a thing we're going to need moving forward.
Coach, the usual suspects stepped up big last night. Owen Hendricks at quarterback, not only throwing the ball but running it as well. That little QB delay there was just worked like a charm. Drew Esper with some huge plays, both offensively, defensively, but Colton Core receiving. And then also Jackson Gallagher along that defensive line really played well.
Yeah, those were all kids that stood out to me as well. I mean, I was really happy for Colton. He's a kid that is just simply last year he had 2 catches and both were touchdowns, but, we didn't get him a ton of targets. We had some kids that were seniors last year that we got the ball to a little bit more, but Colton's a young man who has continued to work, and for him to have 5 catches, 103 yards, I mean, that's really, really, that makes me really happy for him. He deserves it. And then Jackson Gallagher, he's showing why he's on the field as junior. I mean, he's fast, he's aggressive, he's a great presence down there in the D-line. But, yeah, Drew and Owen are two young men who are just fun to watch. I trust them when the ball's in their hands. I mean, Drew made some plays last night that were just unbelievable. That punt return he had was so cool to watch. I mean, I don't know how many kids he made miss, but he just kind of deeks and dives in and out of traffic, and it's just he's a special young man. And Owen was just a young man that we called his name a lot last night, and he steps up, and he's getting a lot better at protecting his body. He took a hit or two last night, but a lot of times when I went back and watched the film, he protected himself, and he's learning to be a smart quarterback, and with the talent that he has, that's a dangerous combination. So,
amen.
A lot of great things.
Amen to that.
Coach, without you being there up in the booth, JJ and I, we named our Jimmy John's, our Fox Motors motivated player of the game as Jackson Gallagher, again, for a kid
great.
that really shined along that defensive front.
Yeah, he did. He led our defensive line, or he led our defensive tackles last night, I believe. And that's a pretty impressive thing from a D-line standpoint to lead the team in tackles. So definitely well deserving. We knew we had a good matchup with him, and his speed is a weapon. He definitely brings a lot to the table with his speed, and well deserved. Katie, I know, is his mom, and she'll be really, really happy to know that. So super excited for the Gallagher family, and it's awesome for Jackson.
It is, Coach. And then,
you got to coach. You got to tell us who your Jimmy John. Number one, Coach, you got to get me some video of you getting Jackson that Fox hoodie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. You promised me you would. So
you're right.
Don't make me come in and kick some butt.
You're right. I'll get on it. I promise you.
And then who's your? Okay, I appreciate that. So who are we giving the Jimmy John's cards to? What parents and what player?
Hey, we got Drew Esper.
Okay.
First varsity touchdowns last night, and which is hard to believe from a young man that played
that's
incredible last
shocking.
year. But
that is shocking considering how.
Last night, two of them, and two incredible plays made by him on those. The first one was a slant that wasn't there immediately. He continued his route and made an incredible catch in the end zone, kind of diving backwards. And then the second one was kind of a corner route that he outbeat his man down the sideline and turned it up the field and went in for a big score. So, Drew Esper. And then on defense, too. I mean, the kid did everything that we asked him to do, and he's just an exceptional player. And definitely well-deserving, Drew. With Joe and Jamie being his parents, I'm sure they'll enjoy some free subs from.
I think we'll have to give it to his mom. I don't know if legally we can give the principal of the high school Jimmy John.
Yeah, that's all right. I mean,
no, that's
right.
Maybe we can give it to the brother and sister.
Yeah, that's fine.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's what you run into.
I'm making that up. I have no clue.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah, well, James, I know you're busy in a film session right now. We appreciate you stepping out and taking some time with us. And let's take care of two home games now coming up, Bay City Central and then Grand Blanc. But next Friday, let's get another win.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It's always fun to be able to recap the game with you. And again, apologize about last night. And
it's okay.
All good.
Another one.
No, it was great to talk to you live, Coach. I never get to be part of this, so I don't think that Rich and JJ are doing a very good job. So I'm glad that I could step in and make it a little bit more professional.
Yeah, fair enough. No, they're doing great. It's always a pleasure.
All right, James, go Titans.
And go Titans, yes, sir.
All right. James Wagner, head coach at Traverse City West. JC, they're off to a 2-0 start.
Yeah, like I told you, Rich, I was leaving Traverse City. I had an event after I was doing the show, and it didn't sound good at the beginning.
Right.
And and I was going back and forth between the Grayling game and the West game, and I'm like, oh boy. And like I pointed to Coach, especially long bus rides.
Oh, yeah.
The long bus rides with a loss
Yeah.
are just awful. And I'll never forget the one, Joe's last game at St. Mary's at St. Ignace in a rainy, horrible, and then, they're still soaking wet and they're on the bus and they're driving an hour and a half, 2 hours back to Gaylord, soaking wet, and you just feel like the world kicked the crap out of you.
You do. Like
Yeah.
you said, you add all of that wetness and cold to you with that loss, and it just kind of
You're
magnifies
like, what did I do? What did we do to deserve this?
Yeah, no
But,
question.
on the other hand, I'm sure that bus was rocking. They probably got Mickey D's or Wendy, a whole bunch of bag of food. And
Yeah, because, it was 2:41 from my house here, so almost 3 hours on a bus, I can imagine, from where we're at, from Grand Haven to TC. So, yeah, great
a
bus
lot of root beers.
yes, that's for sure. All right, when we come back, we'll have head coach of the Grayling Vikings, Eric Tunney, on the phone. You're listening to the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, brought to you by Sarah Ford of Kalkaska and Gaylord.
Have you stopped by Sarah Automotive in Gaylord or Kalkaska lately? If not, you're missing out on the lowest lease payments of the year on many of your favorite Ford vehicles. And at Sarah, Gaylord, and Kalkaska, besides a great selection of new Fords, you'll find pre-owned inventory stocked with certified Fords and a wide array of trucks and SUVs in every price range. Visit Sarah Gaylord and Sarah Kalkaska for sales, service, parts, or just a friendly conversation. They'll be delighted to help you. They guarantee it.
You asked for it. We delivered. Friday, November 15th, Collective Soul returns to Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. The 30th anniversary tour with special guest Hinder. Tickets for Collective Soul start at $39 and are on sale now at the box office and online at etix.com. Collective Soul and Hinder. Friday, November 15th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Who knew? Fresh air is a destination. Breathe in the glacial carved canvas of northern Michigan's finest golf courses and have your breath taken away by scenic vistas from tee to green. The perfect place to perfect your game in more ways than one. The waves, woods, and wonder of Bel Air. Escape every day. Discover the magic of 90 holes at one resort. Shanty Creek Resort in Bel Air and online at shantycreek.com.
One of the fantastic things about summer in the north is dining outside, and no one does al fresco better than Benetham's. The outdoor space doesn't have traffic speeding by, a quiet, beautiful setting to enjoy the new summer menu. You can even sample the Benetham's happy hour from 4 to 6 outside. A fantastic way to enjoy many of the amazing flavors from the kitchen and the creative cocktail menu. Visit Benethams.com and make your reservation today. Benetham's, for the true love of food.
Votes are in for the Traverse City Record Eagles Simply the Best Reader's Choice Contest. It was our biggest and best year yet. Find out Traverse City's favorite businesses and professionals on the Traverse City Record Eagles page on Facebook Wednesday, September 25th. Attend the virtual awards ceremony September 25th at facebook.com/TC Record Eagle. And make sure to pick up our Simply the Best Winners publication in the September 25th edition of the Traverse City Record Eagle.
Q100 Michigan named simply the best radio station in northern Michigan again. I just had to.
Yeah,
we just heard that ad, Rich.
That's right. Oh, that's very cool. 2 years in a row. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, welcome back to the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, brought to you by Sarah Ford of Kalkaska and Gaylord. Rich Calkins, Jerry Coyne in studio with you this morning. And joining us now, head coach of the Grayling Vikings, Eric Tunney. Eric, things off to a little bit of a rough start for the Vikes, but you played Clare and Hudson Unity Christian, and talk about that game last night down there outside of Grand Rapids.
Yeah, they're a really good team. Probably one of the better teams I've coached against, and they had some dudes, and our kids played tough, and I don't know. We just didn't start out real strong, and then you dig yourself a hole, and then you're playing catch up the whole time. And so, it obviously sucks being 0-2, but we've shown growth definitely since the first play at Clare, and now we're going to start getting into the league play, and we're figuring some stuff out. But a lot of these guys are, juniors, their first time on varsity football.
Yep.
So I like the growth we've seen, and we've gotten better despite being 0-2.
Yeah.
Yeah, Coach, I was listening to Chad and Scott doing the game, and it seemed like at least in the beginning of the game, it was kind of 2 steps forward, 1 step back with the offense.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because I like the way we moved the ball.
Yeah.
We did a lot of things well, and then, we either bad play call or poor execution, and we turned the ball over, and you cannot do that against an average team, let alone a very good team. So, like I said, they had some very talented kids, and you make mistakes against that, they will expose you. So, we did some good things well, and just got to build on that.
Yeah, Coach, now you guys, for the people out there listening, you guys lost a ton of players off of last year's team. And guys that, you're starting quarterback for 3 years, running back, big-time guys that were a part of your program for many years. So what is the kind of the philosophy going into a season when you have a real young team?
Yeah, it's getting them reps. You can't replicate experience, or it's tough to replicate experience. 3-year starters are special on varsity, but those guys started as sophomores and juniors, and they had their growing pains too. So
sure,
it's kind of a cycle. You love having strong senior classes, but when those kids graduate, it's time for the next crew they got to learn, and they got to learn quick. And just getting the kids reps and playing really good competition gets you there. But there's definitely going to be speed bumps along the way. And, talking to the kids after the game, they stepped their game up in the second half, and we just told them, you can't wait until play 60 to flip that switch. It's got to be now. And
sure.
I think a lot of that's experience and just getting the kids confidence. And like I said, we've grown a lot, and we just got to keep building on that. And, it doesn't get any easier. Obviously, we got Kingsley next week, so we gotta push reset quickly and get ready to rock.
Yeah, Coach. What are the numbers like on varsity and JV this year, Eric?
We're around 25 on varsity, and then 20, about the same on JV. So,
okay.
Numbers are solid.
Good.
So just gotta get kids reps, and we actually have depth, in most positions this year, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
So, we're able to play a little more fresh, but we just gotta get clicking and get 11 guys on the same page.
Yeah, this happens in high school.
Yeah.
You have a run of kids that perform in the program very, very well, but they graduate. It's not we don't have the transfer portal.
Right. Thank God.
Oh God. I don't even want to speak that into existence, Coach.
Right,
yeah, I know.
Everybody will be at St. Francis. They'll be a Class A school. They used to accuse us of that at Brother
Right,
Rice.
yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
Brother, you guys recruit. But in some ways, especially if the kids buy in all the way and understand that, a defeat on the scoreboard doesn't necessarily mean that the team hasn't been improving, and
Right.
if you can keep that bunker mentality, it's going to pay dividends.
For sure. And I with the playoff format, you play big schools and they win games, that's as good as beating, a smaller school that doesn't win games. So, we definitely got to win some games if we're going to get into the playoffs, but playing teams like the last two we played and the next two we play, those are beyond playoff caliber teams. So it's definitely going to help us. And I think the kids will respond, and we'll find out Friday night.
Well, defending state champion Kingsley coming to town, that should get the kids as revved up as they possibly can be.
For sure. They had a super strong senior class. Graduate as well, but they reload every year, and we know what we're going to get from them. So it's smash mouth football like we got last night, and I think our we got to have a great week of practice and be focused. But we're definitely not looking past defending state champs.
Yeah, and Eric, no one's definitely going to question the validity of your schedule this year. Eric checking the whole thing out here. I mean, you know, save
they might be they might be questioning the athletic director.
No, hey, we can't say we'll play anybody anywhere and then not do it. So
right, there you go.
You know, we'll do it, and our kids get better because of it. And
is Michigan State on the schedule? Do we get playing the Spartans this year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're going to play alum David Milliken there and stuff.
Yeah,
the guys there.
my boy there.
That's right. So, all right, Eric. You know, we appreciate you joining us. You know, again, 0-2 start, not exactly what you wanted to do, but again, with this young team, you know, it sounds like there's a lot of enthusiasm and looking forward, like you said, to the growth of this team.
Yeah. Can't our kids play hard, and I told them that you play hard, but you got to also execute when you do that. So
cool.
Well, we want to tell.
Yep.
We want to tell all our listeners to get out and first home game
yes,
against Kingsley. Let's get a big crowd out there and root on this team and bring home a victory.
Yeah.
They're definitely beatable.
Yes.
We'll need all the Viking Nation, that's for sure. So looking forward to the home opener and looking forward to Kingsley coming to town.
Yeah, for sure. Eric Tunney, head coach of the Grayling Vikings. Best of luck next Friday night.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Hey, thanks, Eric.
All right.
Yeah, just like you said off the air, just what a great guy Eric Tunney is.
You know, he's a great guy, a great coach, great guy. He's the kind of coach that can certainly deal with a little disappointment in the locker room with some losses. You know, you got to point out the schedule's ridiculous.
It just is.
Yeah, it really is. And with a young team and that schedule, hey, if they can go out and beat Kingsley and Kingsley can be beaten, that would do wonders for the team.
Oh my gosh, it would just flip the script on the entire season for sure.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, the defending state champs in Kingsley, and they had a close one against Gaylord, a 16-0 win last night for Kingsley. But no, that's for Grayling to go out and possibly do something like that, a big upset. That would be absolutely
huge. I was listening to Chad and Scott, like I said in the beginning. Grayling moved the ball on them first. They were keeping that offense off the field, and then they turned the ball over. And you can't do that. Like Coach said, against any team.
Yeah.
But, they turn the ball over against Kingsley or St. Francis, and that's not going to be great.
Yeah, sure.
So if they can possess the ball and make some tackles, that Kingsley runs that offense, you got to tackle. You got to stay in your lane.
That's right.
And
gap responsible.
Yep.
Yes, no question about it, JC. When we come back, we're going to have head coach Eric Schiggers of Traverse City Central get caught up on the Trojans and how they're doing this year. You're listening to the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, brought to you by Sarah Ford of Kalkaska and Gaylord.
Have you stopped by Sarah Automotive in Gaylord or Kalkaska lately? If not, you're missing out on the lowest lease payments of the year on many of your favorite Ford vehicles. And at Sarah, Gaylord, and Kalkaska, besides a great selection of new Fords, you'll find pre-owned inventory stocked with certified Fords and a wide array of trucks and SUVs in every price range. Visit Sarah Gaylord and Sarah Kalkaska for sales, service, parts, or just a friendly conversation. They'll be delighted to help you. They guarantee it.
Votes are in for the Traverse City Record Eagles Simply the Best Reader's Choice Contest. It was our biggest and best year yet. Find out Traverse City's favorite businesses and professionals on the Traverse City Record Eagles page on Facebook Wednesday, September 25th. Attend the virtual awards ceremony September 25th at facebook.com/TC Record Eagle. And make sure to pick up our Simply the Best Winners publication in the September 25th edition of the Traverse City Record Eagle.
Who knew? Fresh air is a destination. Breathe in the glacial carved canvas of northern Michigan's finest golf courses and have your breath taken away by scenic vistas from tee to green. The perfect place to perfect your game in more ways than one. The waves, woods, and wonder of Bel Air. Escape every day. Discover the magic of 90 holes at one resort. Shanty Creek Resort in Bel Air and online at shantycreek.com.
Here at Pioneer Hills Marine in Roscommon, summer has flown by, and sadly, it's time to start preparing for winterizing your boat. If you're someone who likes to do it yourself, Pioneer Hills Marine has all the winterizing supplies you need. Or, if you'd rather spend more time with your friends and family, bring it to us and we can do it for you. Pioneer Hills Marine now offers fall detailing. Get your boat detailed before you put it away so it's all ready to go come spring. Pioneer Hills Marine, making memories priceless.
Now, Saturday, September 28th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort, Evanescence. With special guest Hailstorm. And special guest In This Moment. Tickets as low as $38 and are on sale now at the box office and online at etix.com. Evanescence with special guests Hailstorm and In This Moment. Showtime 6:30. The Soaring Eagle Summer Outdoor Concert Series final show. September 28th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. More at SoaringEagleCasino.com.
Hey, it's Anthony Bellino from Spin on Sports, Michigan's Sports Dog Morning Show on the Great Voice Radio Network. Heard live weekday mornings from 6 to 9 right here on Up North Sports Radio 101.1 WGRY. Whether it's Tigers, Pistons, Red Wings, Lions, Michigan, Michigan State, the Big Ten, the Mid-American Conference, all the headlines, all the stories, and always Michigan teams first. It's all right here on Spin on Sports, weekday mornings from 6 to 9 on the Great Voice Radio Network. Heard locally on Up North Sports Radio 101.1 WGRY.
Welcome back to the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show on Up North Sports Radio, brought to you by Sarah Ford of Kalkaska and Gaylord. Rich Calkins, Sherry Coyne in studio with you. And joining us now, head coach of the Traverse City Central Trojans, Eric Schiggers. Coach, you started your season off with a big win at Plymouth, 22-14. Last night, your first home game, a 10-point defeat, 30-20 against Parma Western. Talk about those two games so we can get caught up.
Yeah, Rich, it's a tough one last night. First of all, and our kids played extremely well. We had a young football team. I felt like, week one we grew up. We grew up a lot. We had a lot of kids starting both ways that didn't have any varsity game experience, and they got a lot of that in week one and a long road trip. And I was just proud of the fact that we were able to come out with a victory then. And then last night, we always talk about making improvements from week one to week two, and some of the best programs do that, and best teams find ways to get better. And we did that. I was really proud of, we got a lot better from week one to week two, and it showed last night. But we just didn't show on the scoreboard, unfortunately. So here we are, set 1-1, as opposed to 2-0.
Yeah, and Coach, that's what happens with a team that doesn't have the experience of a senior-laden team. Sometimes, like you said, you can play better, but it may not show on the scoreboard.
No, you're right. And, Jackson Parma Western, they went all the way to the regional final last year. They got 20-some seniors on their team.
Wow.
They're a well-coached football team, and, they're going to make a run. They're going to have a lot of wins this year, and they'll make a run in the playoffs, I think. And, they're a good football team, but so are we. And we had the chance to beat a good football team at home, and we didn't get it done. And that's one of those, you look at stats, you look at everything, you look at opportunities. We had a lot of missed opportunities, and we outgained them in yards by over 100 yards. And but we turned it over and didn't score when we needed to, and that hurts today. But you know what? There's so many positives to take away from that, and I think that'll pay dividends down the road. Like we told our players, this is one of those non-conference games you want to win. You need to win them all, but heading into conference play, these are lessons that'll pay dividends down the road. I really believe that.
Yeah, no question about it, Coach. Who are some of the kids that are kind of taking a leadership role on your team this year, Eric?
Well, we get two young quarterbacks, a junior and a sophomore, that are taking a lot of snaps for us, and so those guys are really stepping up. And our offensive line, I would say a couple of the seniors in our offensive line. We only have 10 seniors, on our football team all around. So some of those guys are taking the reins. Henry Thurell, one of our senior offensive linemen, he's doing a phenomenal job there. And some of our juniors that have played as sophomores, Peyton Waller stepping up, Rutger Feeney has stepped up. We've had some early season injuries where we lost some key players, but some of these other guys have had to move positions and play dual roles for us, and just been proud of their proud of the kind of maturation just even in like the first 2 weeks here. So we're heading in the right direction. It just didn't show on the scoreboard last night.
Coach, how many? What are the numbers like for varsity and JV?
Right, varsity-wise, we're a little thin. We're at 37. Right now our JV's right around 32.
Okay.
We had a pretty big freshman squad as well. So, all the way through the program, we're about 110 players, which it's a good spot to be in.
Yeah.
Sure.
The who do you got next week?
We got to go down to Davison. And they're a Division I program. They're a solid football team. They're really good. They're highly skilled. They're very athletic, and so we're going to have our hands full. But, like I told our kids last night, we're going to go down there and give them everything we got. And I tell you what, our kids have made those strides, those improvements, and that's what I like. You hate to lose. You hate to lose that game.
Yeah.
But there's so many benefits to come out of that. There's so many positives that you look at after watching film and just seeing the kids grow up and get better. And that's a big part of this. As long as they believe that, hey, we're getting better, and that's what we're trying to do.
Right. And Coach, at Davison, the great wrestling program down there as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right. They do. I mean, they draw from a big area and a more,
Yes.
metropolitan area, and they attract a lot of kids from surrounding areas as well. So.
Yeah, I was driving by Thurlby, Coach, last night. Looks like you had a typically great crowd. So I'm sure that the fan base is behind the program 100%, and and then probably be an interesting road trip to Davidson.
Yeah, it's in the league we're in now with Saginaw Valley, we're used to traveling.
Yeah.
But in the non-conference games, it's like our JV freshmen traveled all the way down to Jackson Farmer Western the other day. It's like over 3 hours. So
yeah,
it's one of those deals that you're kind of used to it at this point. You're the Division II program up north, and you got to go find those bigger programs. So and that's where we are as a program too. You got to play teams and
right.
Be battle tested and to prepare yourself for hopefully to get a chance to get in the playoffs again.
Right. Yeah, Coach, keeping an eye on Josh Burnham there down at Notre Dame, and seems to be doing really well.
Oh, yeah, he is. I talked to him last week and just via text, and he's just a great young man. Works hard and is loving the environment he's in down there, and just thriving. And he played in that Texas A&M win, and defensive end there, and it's just great to see him play. And a lot of special teams, but also on the defensive side of the ball as well.
Yeah.
Well.
Everyone out there, keep your eye on number 40 at Notre Dame on the defensive end, like Coach said there. Yeah, I specifically watch Notre Dame games just to watch him play, Coach.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. I'm a huge Notre Dame fan now. It wasn't my whole life, but yeah, I'm a fan of a lot of schools that our players go to.
Yeah.
So
no, that's one of the cool things about being a coach.
Yeah.
Is,
no, it is. Saturdays are fun for those guys, and I wish they could make more games. But as you know, Saturday football is a lot of watching our film and then preparing for the next week's opponent, and then hopefully watching some of those college football games as well.
Coach, just very briefly for our listeners who haven't seen you guys play this year, who are some? You mentioned that it's only 10 seniors on the team. You got some juniors. What are the most you excited about with this year's team?
What I'm most excited about?
Yeah.
I just love our guys and how they operate and how they work. And we talk about how much of it's a process. We talk about week to week. Are we improving? Are we getting better? And then that's what I love about our team. We talked about the fact you love your team, you love our guys, the way they work. And then last night we showed a little bit of grit. We showed a little toughness as well, because there's moments that didn't go our way. I think Parma came out and scored the third quarter and went out 14-6. Our kids responded came right down the field and scored and tied it up at 14. There's moments like that. You're like, here we go. We got a great, a good football team that's able to respond in those situations. And so that's the kind of group, we have right now. And I'm just disappointed in the outcome, but I'm excited to get back after it.
Yep. Hey, Coach, I hope your daughter had a good run this morning.
Oh, yeah. No, I just think, we just got out there, and it felt like fall weather this morning, man. Watching the cross-country race.
Yeah,
for
sure.
Breeze, and I think the temperature was below 60. I was like, are we ready for this yet? But it's fall, so we'll take anything.
That's right. Yeah, a bit blustery out there, but those runners there, they prefer that cooler weather, so good for them.
Oh, yeah, you bet.
Coach, we look forward to having you back on the program real soon, and good luck with Davidson.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate it, and thanks for the support on Trojan football and football in general.
Okay, you bet. Head coach Eric Shiggers of the Traverse City Central Trojans, off to a 1-1 start. Thanks for joining us, Coach. But yeah, good. Eric, great guy.
Yeah,
absolute great guy. And
runs a great program, and
yes.
You're not going to win them all.
No.
Unless you're Kingsley last year. So it's.
Yeah, sure. And even they had a couple losses going in.
That's true. Yeah.
So you can lose some in the regular season, and all of a sudden regroup and play your best at the right time, and that's exactly what
I'm sure that they're going to quit themselves each and every week,
right?
And that they're going to be out for blood in the Patriot game at the end of the year.
Yeah, that's for sure. They got a little redemption on their mind.
Yeah, you don't like to lose 2 in a row.
No.
Across the town.
Yeah.
There.
Then it tends to become a trend, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, Jed's a millionaire, and then. But no, that's. There's something again. They've held that crown for Beverly Hillbillies.
What?
You got to be.
Jed's First thing you know,
next thing you know,
is that about football?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Every once in a while, I throw something in there, throw a curve.
Okay, we'll
expecting the fastball. But all right, when we come back, we'll try
rescue this, please.
We're going to try to get a hold of DJ Shimoniak of Gaylord here, see if we can get him on the line and talk a little Gaylord football. You're listening to the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, brought to you by Sarah Ford of Kalkaska and Gaylord.
Have you stopped by Sarah Automotive in Gaylord or Kalkaska lately? If not, you're missing out on the lowest lease payments of the year on many of your favorite Ford vehicles. And at Sarah Gaylord in Kalkaska, besides a great selection of new Fords, you'll find pre-owned inventory stocked with certified Fords and a wide array of trucks and SUVs in every price range. Visit Sarah Gaylord and Sarah Kalkaska for sales, service, parts, or just a friendly conversation. They'll be delighted to help you. They guarantee it.
Friday, December 6th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Rock legends Cheap Trick with Blue Oyster Cult. Tickets start at $62 and are on sale now at the Soaring Eagle box office and online at etix.com. December 6th, Cheap Trick with Blue Oyster Cult. More at SoaringEagleCasino.com.
One of the fantastic things about summer in the north is dining outside, and no one does al fresco better than Benetham's. The outdoor space doesn't have traffic speeding by, a quiet, beautiful setting to enjoy the new summer menu. You can even sample the Benetham's happy hour from 4 to 6 outside. A fantastic way to enjoy many of the amazing flavors from the kitchen and the creative cocktail menu. Visit Benethams.com and make your reservation today. Benetham's, for the true love of food.
September is Big Brothers Big Sisters Month across the country. Let's shine a light on the incredible impact mentorship has on the lives of children and families right here in our community. For many children, their big is more than just a friend. They're a constant source of support, guidance, and most of the time, a lot of fun. Imagine the joy of sharing an ice cream cone, the comfort of a listening ear, and the inspiration that comes from a caring role model. For 54 years, Biggs has been helping children discover their potential and reach for their dreams. You can be part of a child's successful journey. Whether you want to become a mentor, advocate for our mission, or support this important cause, your involvement will make a world of difference. Join our village and help foster these essential connections that last a lifetime. Visit bigsupnorth.org to learn more about how you can get involved. Together, we can empower our youth to build brighter futures.
When the summer heat arrives, the faint of heart stay inside, while the tough get to work. Save big on the tractor you need with Mahindra's tough-to-beat deals. Get 0% for 84 months on select models, plus great deals on the Max, E-Max, 1600 Series, 4500 Series, and more. See them all at MahindraUSA.com.
Visit your Mahindra dealer at Zaremba Equipment in Gaylord or online at zarembaequipment.com or Pioneer Diesel in Traverse City or pioneerdiesel.com.
Listen to Finding Fairways Saturday and Sunday mornings here on WGRY.
Brought to you in part by North Bloomfield Properties, your no-hassle property management company. See how easy it is to own rental properties at northbloomfield.com.
Up North Sports Radio, Y101.
This has been the Northern Michigan High School Sports Scoreboard Show, presented by Sarah Ford of Kalkaska and Gaylord for stress-free call.
Should be on now.
Okay. Welcome back to the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, presented by Sarah Ford of Kalkaska and Gaylord. Rich Calkins, Jerry Coyne in studio with you, and we have about 10 minutes left here, JC. We have the Michigan pregame show starting right at 11, so thought we could go over some of the scores from last night.
Please do.
And
we don't have our record eagle, so
we do not. No, a little later delivery than what we would
maybe
like.
I should try James, and he can give you the update. But
we need to use that connection for sure. But
we know that Kingsley and Gaylord had a tough battle.
They did, exactly, with Kingsley winning 16-0. So, tough one there for sure. Marquette put up 51 points against Alpena in a 51-0 shutout. You know, we were expecting that Boyne City Elk Rapids game to be hard-fought close. It was not. Boyne City 48, Elk Rapids 6.
Wow.
Yeah, so Boyne City looking really tough. Another one that we
Glen
thought,
Lake beat
Frankfurt 60-7.
Wow.
Yeah,
I didn't see the score. I know that it was that's the game that James was at.
That was right, exactly.
He had a hot dog and went home early.
He did, and that's a home game for Frankfurt.
That's a toughie, man.
That is a tough one for sure. Hey, how about those Holton Lake Bobcats? They win 44-27 over Pine River.
Okay.
We did expect the Lake City Everett game to be a good one, and it looked like it was. But Lake City won it 38-27. Reed City, they look tough as nails. Of course, they beat Kingsley week 1 in Kingsley. All they did is put 65 points on the board against Chippewa Hills, 65-30.
Okay.
Clare continues to roll. After they beat Grayling week 1, they shut out Sanford Meridian 43-0.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so really got some impressive scores here.
Yeah.
Little 8-man football. Pickford over Brimley 61-6.
Okay.
How about Gaylord St. Mary's? Kevin O'Connell and the crew, they won 46-12 over Central Lake.
Good deal.
Congratulations to them. Stepping up in 11-man, Escanaba came down to Cadillac and won by one score. 28-21.
Okay.
So a real good ball game, and Escanaba, a team that Grayling will see in a few weeks.
We got a Gladwin score?
Oh, I do. Gladwin beat Beaverton 55-14.
Yeah, we thought that they probably have not so much of a difficult time with an outmanned Beaverton team.
It's exactly right, and things just Mark Jarsfer and the crew at Gladwin there just continue to.
Yeah, they got a great program going on.
They do.
How about some of our other listing areas? Anything from Ogama Hills?
Let me see what we have here. We have a Roscommon score. They won week 1 against Oscoda, but unfortunately they ran into Beale City last night, and Beale City shut them out 42.
Beale City, always a really good football program. Yeah.
The nails. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no question. Let me see. Mansalona back to winning again, 30-22 over Tawas.
All right.
So congratulations.
The Ironmen, they're 2-0. I believe they won last week as well.
I love it. The Ironmen. I know. That's what a great name for football. Checking out some of the other scores around the area here. Looks like we had a forfeit between Mesick and Baldwin, a 2-0 score.
Got a Joe Berger or Kalkaska score there, sir.
Joe Berg did take it on the chin. Let me see. Yeah, East Jordan put up 63-6 win over Joe Berg.
Okay.
So so good for Joe Berg. in the week 1
Yep.
win. But yeah, look, East Jordan
Program,
put
you know,
on
trying to
some
get back on the
points.
right foot.
That's exactly right. Kalkaska, they lost as well. I'm trying to find their score here, but I checked it out when I got home last night, and cannot see what the score is here
Okay.
now. But Traverse City St. Francis, they play today.
Today?
And against what, Lawton?
Yeah, that's going to be an outstanding football game. If you're not coming to Grayling for the Fred Bear statue reveal, then head to Thurlby and see could be a potential state championship matchup this year between St. Francis and Lawton.
Yeah, no doubt, JC, and that's an excellent point. And that reveal is at 1 o'clock today?
Yeah, right downtown at 1 o'clock today. We will, 7 years in the making, raising funds to build the Fred Bear statue. It's already on place.
That's it.
And
I saw that they were doing
Gator told me there's already a lot of people down there.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Glad to hear that. Yeah, that's like you said, you never know what kind of crowd that's going to draw and everything, and so that's good to have people mingling about already a few hours before the program.
Yeah, I got to get these jugs together. We
and
still
you're
are taking.
MCing.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. Well,
shit.
I know. I got to get some notes together here.
Better put that together. Just winging it. Fred who?
Yeah, right.
Ted who?
Ted, yeah. Ted what?
Ted and Fred.
Ted,
Okay,
yeah,
that
exactly.
sounds like a lot of fun.
There's a joke in there somewhere.
Yeah,
but,
somewhere in there. Yeah, Ted Nugent will be performing the classic, and speaking about his relationship with Fred Bear, one of the most meaningful relationships in his life. Obviously, a lot of people feel that way about Fred. Did you ever meet him?
Oh, yeah. As I told the story before that, he was friends with my grandfather. My grandfather worked for the
archery
conservation area, and my grandpa was instrumental in bringing the elk herd to Michigan.
Oh, okay.
Back in the day, into the north of Gaylord there. So, yeah. He was part of.
I know he used to hang out in the Grayling restaurant like almost on a daily basis.
Yeah, they had back then the DNR. My mom and her family grew up on Lake Marguerite, where the Camp Commander's house is.
Oh.
They tore down the old house that was there a few years ago, but that's the house my mom grew up in because that was the house that was provided by the Natural Resources Commission to my grandpa and his family. And so, so my mom, that was very fortunate to grow up on Lake Marguerite there, and so cool. Had a great upbringing out there, and
obviously I never got the opportunity to meet Fred Bear, but he is a huge part of the fabric of Grayling.
Oh yes.
And so I was down there yesterday. Checking out some details. They already had the statue up covered.
Mm-hmm.
People already getting their photos taken down there and everything else.
Right.
Today is going to be an emotional day for a lot of people,
right?
Including Ted. I was on Ted's podcast yesterday, his Campfire podcast, and he asked me this question because I know Ted. It's funny. I've been interviewing Ted for 10 years now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've never met him.
Oh, is that right?
But we're friends.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
Having never really met. Yeah, I'm gonna finally meet him today for the first time.
Right.
And he asked me a question that kind of surprised me.
Uh-huh.
And he said, and he doesn't call me JC, which really pisses me off. But he said, JC, when you talk to me about rock and roll or politics,
right?
Because he likes to get his politics in every once in a while.
Yes,
he is, pretty cocky and brash and everything else. But when we talk about Fred Bear, his whole personality changes. And he's so reverential, and it's almost like Fred. He doesn't want to embarrass Fred by being Uncle Ted.
Yes.
So he's so reverential. And he's a different person, and so it's going to be interesting to see. He mentioned a little bit of a concern about him being able to make it through his speech and through his song.
Oh wow!
So it's going to be an important day here in Grayling, and I'm just very proud that the radio station is a little part of it.
Yeah, and I told you a couple of weeks ago about how not only the Bear Archery that was here and employed many, many people,
Yeah,
the Bear Museum
right.
and the things like that were out there at where Hanson Hills is now. And it was just for any kid around my age. If you're 50 to 70 years old, it was a huge deal out there.
Oh, yeah, I'll
Everything
bet.
they had
Yeah.
going out there, and it was just awesome to grow up in the Grayling area here.
All right. So we've got Michigan football coming up right now. The huge tilt between U of M and Texas. First time Texas has been in the Big House. Two of the winningest collegiate football programs in America. Michigan, the only team with more than 1,000 wins.
Yeah, hard to believe again the first time they're meeting in the regular season.
Yeah, well, they met in a Rose Bowl
Yes.
10 years ago, 12 years ago in a fantastic football game. Chad Henne's junior year. We got the Tiger baseball on here later on tonight. And, of course, Lions football tomorrow night. Each and every Lions game is available on the radio for free on Q100 Michigan. So, which was, again, Rich, I don't want to toot our own horn, but I'm going to. Q100 Michigan was named the best radio station in northern Michigan by the readers of the Record Eagle for the second year in a row. So here's Michigan football. We'll hopefully see you down at the Grayling City Park for the unveil.
Now we're here. It's Texas week.
First time these two teams are ever facing off in one of their home stadiums.
It's going to be celebrities all over the place. It's going to be superstars. It's going to be a lot of alumni back.
This is why you come to Michigan, to play in these moments.
These are the kind of matchups that people put together on the EA Sports video game.
Let's don't kid ourselves. Kids know big games compared to other games.
The atmosphere is going to be crazy and, certainly something that I probably haven't ever experienced before.
The fan base that we have in Michigan is different to anywhere in the country.
They coming into our house, so we got to be the ones to hit them in the mouth first, and they got to be the ones worried about us.
It'll be a physical football game. Michigan prides itself on that, so does Texas.
I know the intensity will be higher, but you use that to your advantage. Take that intensity and you turn it into focus.
We played in so many big games last year. I think all the guys realized that that's really prepared us to go in this week and play well.
That's where we play our best football, so I'm excited for it.
Texas, a top 10 matchup in the Big House.
Best place in the world. Nothing better than the Big House.
I wouldn't want it any other way.
Michigan football is on the air. Welcome to the pregame show. Over the next hour, we'll break down today's key storylines and visit with players and coaches. Wolverines football is brought to you by Absolpure, the official bottled water of Michigan athletics. The Michigan Gaming Control Board. Learn how to play it smart when you're gambling. Visit don'tregretthebet.org. And by Barbasol, America's #1 shaving cream. Close shave, America. Close shave, Barbasol. Now, let's go to the stadium. Here are the voices of Michigan football, Doug Karsh and John Jansen.
Well, fire up, friends. We got a huge one today. It's the Big Ten versus the SEC. It's #1 in all-time wins versus #4. It's two teams that were in the college football playoff last season. It's a college football blue blood battle on the biggest of stages. It's #4 Texas, and #8 Michigan. Doug Karsh alongside the captain, John Jansen. And John, here we go.
These are the games that you absolutely come to Michigan for. I mean, why else would you want to go to a major college program? You want to be able to play in moments. You want to have the showcase that these student athletes on both sidelines are going to have today.
Big picture, college football's new world order. You could lose a game and even two.